Everybody, and welcome to our week 13 Twitch live stream. It feels like it's been a long time since we've done this between spring break and then I was gone the week before that. But I see some of you getting logged in and joining me. Can you all hear me and see me okay? Just to make sure everything is coming through all right on your end. Wait just a second just to make sure. Okay, awesome. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, good. I'm glad. It's all coming through. I hope everyone had a good spring break. It kind of feels far away already at this point, but I hope you all had a wonderful spring break. I had a really fun time on my cruise and ate way too much, and it was cold though a little bit, unfortunately, but it was a lot of fun, and it was sad to come back and get back into the swing of things. I'm sure I know a couple of you were going places, and I'm sure you feel the same way. But what I want to do this week is just kind of jump back in. We're in week number 13. We don't have that much left of the semester, which is wild. We are at April 10th, and it's really going to fly pretty quickly from here. So let's go to Canvas together, and we'll take a look at kind of where we are at and what we have going on. So if we scroll all the way down, we are right here in week number 13. And we have 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So again, we are definitely getting close to the end of the semester. If you click on week number 13, kind of a different week this week. So what I wanted to do is introduce a project that you will be doing during the final week of the class. And so I wanted to kind of jumpstart that a little bit and get you thinking about it and get you going on it. So our focus of the entire week is as kind of light in a sense. Your reading for this week is just related to the instructions of the project, and then your discussion is related to that as well. So my goal with this week is to just start getting you to think about that and building up to it a little bit and spending some time on that. If I go back really quickly, I know it feels like a long time ago, but a lot of great submissions for week number 12 before spring break. Really nicely done on the title page, something that you'll definitely be doing again, so hold on to that. The biggest mistake that people made with the title page on discussion 12 was a lot of you put a page number up in the corner, which you don't need to do on the title page. Other than that, really nicely done. A lot of really great scores on the exam as well. Again, it feels kind of like a long time ago, so we'll move forward, but I just wanted to touch on that really quickly. So what I'd like to do today is kind of go through the proposal project instructions just to make sure that you start to be thinking about that. And then we'll look at the discussion for this week. Of course, I'll give you the extra credit and some reminders, and then we'll wrap it up. So the experiment proposal project is something that you'll be doing in the final week. But what I've done is upload the instructions into this week's content so that you can take a look at it and start maybe brainstorming ideas. And the purpose of this project is going to be to give you an opportunity to apply all of the things that you've learned over the course of the semester. And we still have some things to go, so again, we're building up to it. But you're going to be designing and writing up a brief proposal for an original experiment in APA formatting, along with the creation of a little digital visual aid, like a one-page flyer, and a short little video where you kind of talk about your project as well. So overall, this entire project is going to be worth 60 points. So it's worth more than an exam by a little bit. And it's definitely something that you're going to want to spend some time on. So again, by starting this week, hopefully we start that process. In total, it should end up being about 5 to 7 pages, including the title page and abstract page. It should have standard APA style margins and follow APA style guidelines, which we've been covering. It should be typed, double spaced, and in APA style font. In terms of the specifics of the paper, so the paper, which again you're not doing yet, I'm just kind of introducing this to you, is going to be worth 45 points. And it's going to be something where you're creating a title page, an abstract, you have a methods section, and a discussion section. You're also at the end going to be creating a digital flyer and a short, like 2-minute or less video. And you can see here how all of the rubric is laid out for you and everything. So what I would like you to do for this week, this is your reading. And I don't want to go through it in too much detail quite yet because it's not due for like another month. But what I would like you to focus on this week is really reading through the instructions of this, making sure that it makes sense to you. And then when we get closer to the final week, I'll talk about it again. But my goal is to, again, get you thinking. You were curious about the video section. Yeah, so it's kind of up to you. So the video portion of this, it's going to be 2 minutes or less. And I want it to be brief because one, that will make the file smaller. And two, it's just mainly you kind of talking about your experiment proposal. So what you could do, a lot of people use Zoom to record this, and you could put the flyer up in the background and just kind of talk about the flyer. You could talk about your kind of interest and talk about the experiment. It's only worth like 5 points, but it is something that I want you to create. It gives me a chance to kind of see you for one, and then you get to talk about it. And it's only me who's going to be watching it, only me and not the rest of the class. So I think that will be a really great opportunity for you. It's just to kind of talk about your project a little bit. Okay. Yeah, you're welcome. No problem. So again, for now, what I would really love you to do is just kind of read through the proposal project instructions. That's your big goal for this week. And then on discussion 13, you're going to start thinking about it, right? So as always, you have my instructions and my video up here at the top. And then here are the instructions again for the experiment proposal project. And then what I want you to do is I want you to answer these 4 questions. And these are going to be things that are starting to get you thinking about a potential topic. You can always change topics at any time, but obviously the sooner you commit, the less work it means for you in the end. But you're going to share the topics that you're considering for your experiment proposal project. Try and give this some serious thought. Try and narrow it down a little bit. And this will help you make that progress toward that final project. Number 2, what are your independent and dependent variables? How are you going to operationalize them? What are the levels of them? Start thinking about this, getting these thoughts out. How are you going to acquire your sample for your experiment? Discuss any kind of sampling methods that you might use, any issues with sampling. What are some potential threats to internal validity that you might need to address, and how would you address them? So again, your topic can be absolutely anything. You are not actually doing this research, sadly, and if there's something that interests you, that's definitely an awesome future direction. But you're just going to be coming up with something that interests you. So I just read an article this morning on TMS. So let's say I wanted to study the effectiveness of TMS on depression. Right, so that would be the topic that I'm considering. I might describe that a little bit. I would talk about, what is the effect of TMS on depression, right? So my dependent variable, how am I going to operationalize and measure depression? I would think about that and write about that a little bit. What are the different conditions that my participants would be exposed to? How am I going to get them? So my goal with this right now and with your discussion this week is to try and get you to narrow down to a topic that interests you and then start kind of teasing it out a little bit. And this is something that you'll want to hold on to and keep building on as we get closer to the end of the semester and you're working on that final project in the last week. So make sure that you answer all these questions fully. If you have more than one topic, that's fine. But obviously, if you can narrow it down to one, it makes it better for you. And then don't forget to also reply to a classmate to get those 2 points of credit for doing that. The other thing that you have this week, you do have a little brief self-assessment. You've done 2 of these so far. This is just another one. It's my chance to kind of check in with you and see how you're feeling about your grade as we move into the last fourth of our class. So a chance for you to reflect on, your effort and what you're doing and what's working and what maybe you might want to change a little bit. Of course, I'll post the recording of this and I'm going to give you the extra credit here in a moment. Are there any questions for now about the experiment proposal project, the discussion, anything related to our class and the content? Any questions for me at the moment? I do have a couple of reminders for you before I give you that extra credit question, but just to see if anyone has anything you're confused about or any general questions at all. While I'm waiting for you to put those in the chat, a couple of reminders. So the first one, almost everyone has fallen off their subscription status. I haven't had a chance to remind any of you in weeks. So just looking at the chat, for example, Dale, yours is expired. Sarah, Nicole, let's see. And then there's a couple other people up here. Patricia, Chris, right? So just take a chance if you can and go back. Kelly, all of you who don't have the little football cake next to your name need to go back and click on that last button and renew it. And if you have fallen off or if you've never done it, you could still do that. The instructions are on Canvas. But I appreciate that. Again, it saves me a lot of time instead of having to match up your names. So thank you for those of you who keep checking and redoing that every 30 days or so. The other reminder that I have for you, if we're looking ahead, so let's look at next week. Our next Twitch session, so let me put this in the chat, will be on the 17th. Let me put it in the chat here. Our next Twitch live stream will be on Wednesday, April 17th at 12:30 p.m. Okay, so kind of sticking with the same day and time, which hopefully works for most of you. And if not, again, these are always recorded and you can watch them later. The last thing for you, yeah, and I talked about this a little bit. Patricia, you had asked of what you could include in the video. So I didn't include any sample videos just because it was people doing them, but there are sample papers and there are sample flyer pages. The video is under 2 minutes, so it's short and sweet. What you could do is just kind of give me a little quick overview of your experiment. And you're not doing this until the final week, not for this discussion, but in the final week you'll make that video. And what a lot of people do is just kind of tell me a quick overview. You know, what are they studying? What do they want to know? What are the conditions? How are they going to get their participants? You're just giving me like a quick 2 minute or less rundown. So it's only worth, like I said, about 5 points. So it's nothing like too stringent on my part. I'm more looking just for to see your face and to hear you describe your experiment. Okay, I hope that helps a little bit. And you're welcome. You're welcome. So let me give you the extra credit question for this week. Copy and paste it here into the chat. And this is the week number 13 Twitch extra credit question. So your question for this week is how many points is the experimental proposal project worth and when is it due? Okay, so how many points is the experimental proposal project worth and when is it due? And again, your only reading for this week is to read about the proposal project instructions. So kind of a light week as we ease back from spring break. So make sure you read through the instructions, do discussion 13 and the short little self-assessment. You can answer that extra credit question here to get those points as well. And that's it for this week. So the only other thing I want to point out really quickly is as we move forward, so on the 22nd, once we hit week 15, I will be opening the rest of the class up all at the same time. So not this week or next week, but I always open those last 3 weeks up all at once at the end, just so as we near the end and everything gets a little hectic, if you wanted to work ahead a little bit, you are able to. But for this week, focus on week 13. Again, the extra credit question is in the chat. How many points is the experimental proposal project worth? And when is it due? All right. So again, thank you so much for those of you joining me today. It's been a little bit, so it's nice to reconnect with all of you. Again, a lot of you, please take a moment to double check and renew that Twitch subscription if you can, just so I can mark down the attendance. I'll wait to do that until tonight in hopes that a few of you do kind of update that during the day. But thank you so much for joining me. I will hang out for a little bit. If you have any other specific questions about the project or about anything else going on in the class. Otherwise, I'm going to minimize my video and so I'm not staring at myself. And but I will hang out for a little bit. Good, nice to see you, or nice to see your name on there as well. Too bad that I can't see all of you, but thank you so much for all of you joining me. I really appreciate it. And again, I'm going to minimize this and I'll hang out for a little bit if you think of anything that you would like to ask. You're welcome, and thank you as well. Thank you too. Thank you. I'm ready to go on my next one. It's hard to come back from a cruise and go back to like eating normally. Oh yeah, that's probably the hardest part is that you have to come back and like no longer eat as much. And I am still here, as I mentioned, if any of you do have any questions. All right, everyone, it looks like almost all of you have logged out or signed out. So I'm going to close this up so I can get ready for my next class. But if you do think of any other questions, feel free to email me. Have a wonderful week, and I'll hope to see you on Wednesday next week.